Hey folks, and welcome to War Thunder with Flying Dodo. Today we're going to fly out the J2M2, a 3.3 battle rating beast that all too often gets put in matches against 2.3 and 2.7 battle rating aircraft. The combination of climb rate, turn times, roll rate, dive speed, and firepower really make this plane incredibly formidable. Now, this plane does face the P-47Ds often enough, which are at a 3.7 battle rating themselves, but it compares favorably in every aspect below about 7,000 meters with the P-47D. And the general consensus is that the P-47Ds themselves are severely under-tiered. I personally have rarely had issues with P-47Ds in this plane. This comparison might give you some idea of just how much of a seal clubber this plane can be in the right hands. In this recording, I'm a little off, not flying really well, not aiming well, and yet still managed to do fairly well. The dive speed is very good on the J2M2, and it maintains very good control nearly all the way to critical speeds. I was going just a bit too fast for this first pass though, so pull out and throw it into a loop to shed some speed, and give me a better view of the targets below me. I don't have a great opportunity on the three planes below me, but I notice what looks like an F4F trying to land? I don't know, but it's too juicy of a target to ignore. I know I can loop after strafing him and return to the other three planes. I'm not sure if he thinks he can cap this airfield, but I fire and that's my first kill. Feels a little cheap, but it's a kill. I loop hard to turn back to the other three enemy behind me. Now, this plane loops and turns exceptionally well for what is supposedly a boom and zoomer. You'll probably be able to outturn any American plane you will face at a 3.3 battle rating. Now, I pick the closest target, the P-40 in front of me. Remember when I said I was playing poorly this match? I somehow miss all of these shots, and so I loop again to come in on him again from the top. The top gives me a better firing angle. He's at a low energy state and begins to climb to attack the Ki-45, making him very slow and an easier target. I open up the guns again on the P-40 and miss a few shots, but eventually connect, blow both wings off, and knock out his pilot. These Japanese cannons, while not great at distance, are absolute murder at close range. That's kill number 2. I loop again to keep an energy and firing solution advantage over the low-flying enemy planes that I've turned back to attack, but catch sight of another P-40 at slightly higher altitude coming in to my left, and decide to go after him. I do not want a P-40 behind me at a higher energy state when I need to do a little turn fighting down low to mop up an area. As a general rule of thumb, attack those at highest altitude first. My first shot set this P-40 on fire, and realizing I've been a terrible shot so far in this match, I put a few more shots in just to make sure he's dead in case the fire goes out. That's kill number 3. Now, I extend and gain some altitude to come back in on the last remaining enemy in the area, an SB-2C. Don't take the SB-2C too lightly, because if they get a firing solution on you, their 20mm cannons can make short work of you, and their initial turn rate from energy is quite good, though they lose energy very quickly while maneuvering. I move in and down, performing a spiral to make sure he can't get those cannons on me, turn inside with flaps to get a firing solution, and blow his right wing off. That's kill number 4. You've seen how bad I've been with my aim in this match, and I'm now so low on ammunition that there's not much chance of me killing the 2 or 3 enemies that are left over at the other airfield without landing and rearming. I've edited out the landing and takeoff here, which took me longer than usual because, again, I was having a very off day in at least some aspects of flying. I take off just as our airfield is beginning to be taken over by the enemy's ground forces, and since our tickets are very low, I'm hoping to find and kill the rest of the enemy planes before we lose by default. I need both speed and altitude, so I put the plane in a relatively low angle of climb, maybe 12 or 13 degrees, and begin trying to spot the remaining players. If I remember the chat spam, I believe there's only a P-36G and a P-40 left. Now I'm being shot at by enemy AAA since they've been taken over by the enemy, but AAA on this map is not nearly as deadly as some other maps. So I'm not terribly worried about it. About this time, I spot the P-36G with an altitude advantage over me. Remember when I said the J2M2 can outturn pretty much any American plane it will face at its battle rating? The P-36G might be an exception if flown correctly. It has very good elevator authority and can perform vertical and horizontal loops incredibly tightly with combat flaps and proper management of the throttle. This makes me a bit wary since I am at a very low altitude and at a fairly low speed. Since I'm afraid I'll lose too much energy gaining altitude over the P-36, I decide to go into a very shallow dive to gain energy and put myself outside of the reach of the P-36 until I can face it on equal terms. As I accelerate to over 480 kilometers per hour, a speed that puts me mostly well beyond the P-36's speed unless it's in a serious dive, I see that instead of coming after me, he's continuing on in a slight dive to pick up speed. I turn to follow him, as he'd only be able to keep distance for a short time before the vastly superior speed of the J2M2 would catch him up. He makes that wait shorter by turning right and dropping altitude. In a dive, he's at even more of a disadvantage against the speed and acceleration of the J2M2. I close on him quickly, and he makes a very tight right-hand turn, and at my speed, I just can't turn in quick enough to get on target. I miss my shots, hit the flaps and break them off, but instead of him initiating scissors or a tight turn fight, he continues straight, and then, unfortunately for him, turns directly in front of me near my gun's convergence. That is kill number 5. There's only one enemy left, and the clock is running out on tickets. I'm sure I won't be able to find him in time, but look for him anyway. He then crashes, but it's too late. Tickets are about to run out, and we've lost the match. This was a completely unfair match, P-40s and a P-36 against this terribly undertiered beast of a plane. But hopefully this video will give you some ideas about how to use it when facing worthy opponents. The fact that I could get 5 kills when playing less than optimally should be some indication of its prowess at its current battle rating. In any case, thanks for watching and have a great day.